like a Würfel Reviews logo? If you do, then you might want to buy a t-shirt with the channel's logo. Just head to geekygoodies.com/würfelreviews and grab a t-shirt for yourself or your friends. By buying Würfel Reviews t-shirts, you are supporting the channel, and I'm thankful for that. And don't forget that you can also support the channel through Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/würfelreviews and choose the reward level that suits you best. Your support means a lot. With enough support, this channel will continue providing you with the content and you will be able to contribute to that as well. Thank you to everyone who watches and supports the channel. Hello there folks, today we'll take a look at the game called Halloween. It's published by Quined Games and the designer is Angelo de Maio. In this game, you are ghosts who go out in town on the Halloween night in order to haunt and scare people. Let's take a look at how the game works and how can we scare those people. In Halloween, you will use your board with different actions in order to manipulate the ghosts in order to get the most points. You will scare the townsfolk, you will transform ghosts into new ghosts, you will summon more ghosts. You will try to claim the objectives over here, the ones that are with the trophy. These are the points at the end of the game. There are more points that can be given during the game as well, for example, from the haunting with different ghosts. And some of these objectives as well are the special abilities that you will be granted with if you claim those. Now, how does it go? So you have your board over here, and these glass markers represent the level of ghosts that you can manipulate with each action row. And you have 3 actions on your turn, so you can use 1 action row each turn. So let me show you this board over here. So there are no glass markers here, but basically the glass markers show you what ghost you can manipulate with action row. That means that, for example, if the glass marker is over here, that means that I can manipulate either the yellow, the green, or the blue ghost. And this is level 3, level 2, level 1 ghost. Level 5 is the scariest ghost, red one. And how I do that? So on my turn I have 3 actions. That means that I have those markers as well. Sorry I didn't take them now, but I have those markers with me. Let's say if I want to do this action over here, I will cover this action over here. Now I can manipulate a ghost of level 1 only. It would be over here, then level 3, 2 or 1. And I will do the action, then I can do maybe this action over here with this action row, and the third action over here with this action row. Eventually, your levels of rows will increase and you can manipulate new ghosts and better ghosts and so on. But the thing is that over here, those markers will not go away until you rest. And resting takes the whole, basically, action row, but it cleans up the action row as well. So because eventually, what it means is that eventually you will use the different actions and this action row will fill up. And as it fills up, you have less options on this action row. So you have to rest in order to get those tokens away from here and get them back as well, because you have only a certain amount of tokens with you. So it's very tight management of your actions whenever you want to do them, whatever you want to do and so on. And what are the different actions that you can do? So first of all, there is a summon action. Summon action means, the first one over here, is that you can summon a new ghost. So right now, I can manipulate only blue ghosts, and there are 3 blue ghosts over here. So if there is a location with at least 2 ghosts of the same color, you can summon a new ghost of that color. So with this action, I would summon a new ghost over here of the same color. That's that. If I could manipulate the yellow, I could summon the yellow, but there's no 2 yellow ghosts over here. What else I can do? I can scare. So with the scare, I can also use the ghost of the level that I want to, based on my glass, the glass marker over here, so up to a level 3, the yellow ghost, and I can scare. And that means, let me just show you from here, this over here, that I can get the scare points. And scare points aren't the victory points. So based on with what ghost I do the scare, I will get certain amount of those points. Let's say I scare with a blue ghost, I get 1 scare point. With this action over here, the third action, I can upgrade a ghost. And that's where I use the scare points in order to pay for them, in order to upgrade. For example, in order to upgrade the blue ghost to a green ghost, I have to spend 2 scare points. So I will spend 2 scare points. Let's say I had them from the previous rounds. I spend those 2, and I will now upgrade one of the blue ghosts into a green ghost. And I will also get the token of the newly placed ghost. The ghosts that are on the board can be manipulated by any player. So these are not your ghosts. The colors are just to show the level of the ghost, but the ghosts are for everyone. So if you have created a new green ghost, anyone can manipulate it who has the level 2 row at least, the level 2 ghosts. With these tokens that you can now that you get from those actions, at least you can use those tokens in order to claim the objectives with the same tokens you have over here that you use for the actions. A little bit complicated, but eventually we will understand once you maybe play the game as well. Yeah. So, for example, these objectives over here, they show that I can all the objectives cost you 3 of those ghost tokens. Here, that means the color thing means that I have to spend 3 of the different color. And the gray thing means that I can spend 3 of any color. See, if I had those 3 tokens, let's say I had 2 green, 1 yellow, I could spend them on one of these that are gray ones. And I would put my token over here and get some kind of an ability, enhancement to the actions and so on, or the end game points. But I would have 1 less action token with me now. So this is how you upgrade the ghost, and of course upgrading the ghosts costs more if you go into the next levels. Now with the 4th action over here, you can move a ghost, and you can move a ghost orthogonally 1 space. You move them here. Whenever you move into a location with one of these tokens, you get that token. And these tokens are basically the different bonuses. For example, this is the bonus with which you can get an extra ghost token. And you will put it right here. And these are basically like action spots, but these are 3 action spots and you can use them whenever you want. So let's say I have this token here. These are like 3 actions. So I'll use my action disc over here. So I will discard this one and get the ghost token. And there are all the different ones. For example, you can move ghosts anywhere. Now you get yellow. What is this here? You get 1 victory points. You get 2 scare points, so on. Basically bonuses. One more action that you can do is you can fight. What the fight means. So you will choose a location where are 2 different colored ghosts. And depending what ghost you can of course manipulate as well. If I can manipulate a green ghost, I can fight with green ghosts. But if I can manipulate only blue ghosts, I can fight with only a blue ghost on that action row over here. And different ghosts have different dice. And the better level of a ghost, the better dice. So for example, the red ghost goes up to 12 on a die, while the blue ghost goes up to 4 only. But let's say you will fight the blue ghost, you will fight a green ghost with a blue ghost. The thing about this one is that whenever you fight, the 2 ghosts of the same color don't fight because they are too friendly to fight with each other. But yeah, you choose one opponent to roll the dice, so you roll those dice and you will compare them. Who has the greater number will win. If you attack with a ghost that you will lose with, nothing happens. If you win the fight, you will get a token of the defeated ghost that you can use on those objectives. That's easy. And the last one over here is the haunting. The haunting means that you will choose the location. You have to have of course, the level of a ghost that you want to haunt with. For example, if there would be have an orange ghost over here, and you have the 3 haunting spot over here, and you can manipulate the orange ghost, then you will put your token over here and you will haunt. And that's extremely easy. You just take one of your pumpkins, and based on the level, you will put it on one of these points over here. So Orange ghost will give you 8 points, while the blue ghost haunting only gives you 2 points. And you can haunt, you as a player can haunt each location only once, so you have to be wise where or what you use. So for example, right now I get 8 points, and that means I will get 8 points over here. And you will play, and the last action, as I told you before, is the rest action, where, or it shows over here, where instead of using the action roll for a certain action, you do the rest and then you will clean up that action roll, but you have used it up. But at least for the next turn you have more actions to choose from. And then you will play until somebody puts all its haunting tokens on the 6 locations or claims 5 of the objectives. And then whoever has the most points will be the winner of the game. Let's go to my final thoughts. As always, I start with the components. This game has a lot of components and mostly they're cool. For example, the miniatures of different ghosts, and they're colorful. They have different dice dominations as well. And all the tokens are quite thick. The board is nice. The glass tokens and those custom shaped hunt tokens as well. This is all cool. There are also some problems with the... by the way, the box is really cool. But the problems that I have with the components, first of all, the board itself is quite dimmed. It's dark. And there's that artwork on the board, but it doesn't stand out. That I would have loved for it to stand out more. I think it's the finish on the board itself that reflects the light a little bit differently. And it's just a little bit too dark. I love to take pictures of the game. And when you look at those pictures, they're colorful, they're bright, because it's Halloween. I know it's Ghost, but you use all the colors, all the different colors here. Why not use more colors on the board and not, why you do this dark? I know it's Halloween and Ghost dark theme, but the rule book itself, by the way, it's well written and it has a lot of humor in it. So you have this kind of a bright story, bright humor and so on. And then some of the components are just too dark. If you want to make a horror game, make a horror game. If you want to make all of this is kind of a heavier Euro game, it still has a lot of that jokes around it. So just make it brighter. Now, if we go in the component, one more thing about the components is that, so the player boards and the cards are quite thin and they are cheap, but the player boards. So if somebody swipes hand, does whatever, all the tokens on the board will be gone, and they're like, what actions were covered and what ghost level did I have? You kind of can remember. It happened to other players, not me, but it can happen. So through that, because the player boards are rather glossy and slippery and so on. So that's that. Now, if we go into the game itself, as I told you that this is kind of a heavier Euro game. And that's because it's a really tight resource management. You have your three action rolls over there. And at first for the players, it's a little bit hard to get into the game because you have those 3 action rolls and the actions are quite obvious. But what goes out of my mind is that you can manipulate only a ghost of a certain level, depending on your level of that action roll. And sometimes it mixes up and players do mistakes, but it's a matter of playing the game more and eventually learning the rules. So that's that. But on the other hand, I like it. It's a really cool restriction where it depends on this roll, for example, I could upgrade the ghost further and I could do the yellow ghosts with this action roll, but with this action roll I can do only blue ghosts, and with this action roll I can do all the ghosts from red to blue. So there's a lot of that choices with which ghost you do what action, because all the 3 rolls have the same 6 actions, and sometimes you need to do the rest action as well, and when you do the rest action, with what roll you do the rest action, and so on. There's a lot of that tight management, decision making and so on, and that's where the game can bog down. It bogs down because it is AP prone game. And yeah, I know some people say that there's no such thing as AP prone game. There are. I will not argue with you. You think what you think, and I think what I think. There are AP prone games, and this is one of them. Because of that tight management, the multi-layer of your own player board versus what you see on the board itself, and what changes depend on the player decisions that are around the table, because at some point some player can create a new ghost and then you will try to control that ghost as well in order to get there, and you can move and do all the other stuff and such. So eventually there are quite a few multi-layered cool decisions about this game. That's what I like. But yeah, it bogs down and eventually it can outstay its welcome a little bit, in my opinion. Eventually, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. It can get on the longer side. I think now it plays well with different amount of players. Maybe more players means more going on the locations and on the board itself, and that's probably more fun. The objectives are cool because basically you use only 8 objectives on the board, but there's a pack of cards, so each game will be with different objectives, different special abilities that you can eventually claim and use, and that's really cool. But iconography, to be honest, on those objectives is a little bit controversial because I mean, like, I didn't. With some games, for example, you look at the iconography and you're like, at first you, of course, you read and then you look at the iconography and you get what it means, and then eventually you will get the logic of all that iconography. Here, each time you look at this iconography and you always forget what it does. It's not as intuitive, and that's a problem for me because it's like, what did like in the middle game, like, what did this object over here do? What's this one? What that means? All the players constantly ask, and you all the time you take the roll, but can you get like 3 pages of all those objectives? You find that objective and you're like, oh, it means that one, and in half an hour you basically forget about that, and then you like ask again and again and again. So that's the problem of this game. Is iconography should have been better, but I think overall, with this game, with all the bonuses that you can get, with all the tight management, a little bit heavier side of that, and the theme, I don't know how much theme comes out of this game. It kind of comes out, but in a kind of a funnier way. I don't know. It's just, there is that haunting, there is theme in this game. For such a Euro game, for such a tight resource management, and it is. It's really cool, and the fighting of the ghosts and different dice, that's all cool. And I think the theme kind of comes through. So overall, I really do enjoy the game. If you enjoy this kind of multi-layer action selection and kind of when do what with which thing, kind of this kind of a multiple thinking over there. If you like such games, then you will probably like Halloween. So I do recommend it. It's a nice title. I will give it a bronze with a medal. And yeah, check out this game, and it might be for you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you another time. Bye. This channel is sponsored by Osprey Games. Check them out at ospreypublishing.com.